excited on my high school graduation. My 4 years of hard work had finally paid off, and I couldn't wait to attend Vanderbilt University in August. My parents were incredibly proud of me, and I was so excited to spend the rest of my summer making memories with my best friend from high school. Isn't this how all of you felt as you grabbed your diplomas and threw off your caps like nothing could go wrong? I know this is exactly how Bailey Goodman felt, who graduated from high school in upstate New York in June 2007. 17 years old, beautiful, talented, and smart, the world was at her fingertips. In order to celebrate the occasion, Bailey and her 4 best friends, all of whom cheerleaded together in high school, decided to drive upstate to Bailey's lake house. Now, as Bailey's driving, she receives a text message from a high school graduate, probably discussing the crazy activities they have planned for the evening. And that is when disaster strikes. She loses control of her vehicle, swerving into upcoming traffic, and she smashes head-on into a tractor trailer. This force has such great impact that the entire vehicle ignites, causing her and her 4 best friends to be trapped in the ferocious flames. Poof, just like that. 5 young lives lost just 5 days after high school graduation. Studies released by Virginia Tech Transportation Department in 2007 have shown that texting while driving increases one person's risk of accident by 23%. In fact, texting while driving is more dangerous than drinking while driving. Journalist Helen Nugget wrote in the Online Times on September 18, 2008, that while drinking while driving decreases one's reaction time by 12%, texting while driving decreases it by 35%. However, while there is a federal ban on drinking while driving, only 18 states have banned texting while driving. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, today, I propose that Congress pass a law to ban texting while driving nationwide. I will highlight the devastating consequences that occur as a result of this deadly habit. I will discuss the causes that allow this problem to continue in our country. And I will propose a law that will abolish this problem once and for all. I will also refute any arguments to my proposal and show that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Texting while driving causes a great amount of harm and distress, and the 3 devastating consequences that I will cover today are a loss of life, a loss of quality of life, and a loss of money. As stated by Michael Ingber on MSNBC.com in July 2007, texting while driving is responsible for a quarter of the 37,435 deaths that occur nationwide due to traffic fatalities. One of these tragedies occurred in January 2008 in Florida, where, according to Julie Sharper in the Baltimore Sun, September 24, 2009, a texting trucker crashed into 10 vehicles, killing 37-year-old Stephanie Phelps and 26-year-old bride-to-be Heather Heard. How would you feel if the operator of a train on which you were riding on was texting instead of paying attention? Well, this happened in September 2008 in LA, where, according to BBC News on October 1st, 2008, train operator Robert Sanchez was so busy texting that he missed a red signal, causing him to crash head-on into a freight train. This tragedy killed 25 people, injured many more, and broke the hearts of friends and families of the victims nationwide. And this brings me to my second devastating consequence of texting while driving, a loss of quality of life. Take Russell Heard, for example, father of Heather Heard, who died at 26 due to a careless driver. Russell expressed his misery in the Orlando Sentinel on February 12, 2008. I cry often. My wife cries often. I hope a federal law is passed so that no other family must feel the pain that my wife and I endure dearly. Or why don't you put yourself in the shoes of Judy and David Teeter, the young couple who in 2004 lost their 12-year-old son, Joey, because a texting driver didn't stop at a red light. And this was provided by Liz Halloran on National Public Radio on September 30, 2009. And this is a statement written by Jessica Usolo, best friend and classmate of Joey Teeter, on the online guest book for his funeral on January 24th, 2004. Hey Joe, I miss you already. I try not to cry, but it's hard. I decorated your locker with flowers. I'll never forget 5th grade with you. Have fun in heaven with God. Now, if losing your own life or losing a child or a best friend isn't enough to convince you of the horrors of texting while driving, maybe loss of money will. People lose money in the form of payments to cover injuries and property damage and because of increased insurance costs. Philip Schwab wrote in the Filipino Reporter on September 18, 2009, that in year 2006, an international paper company had to pay $5.2 million to cover a personal injury suit because an employee who was texting crashed into another vehicle. And as stated by MarketingVox.com on November 17, 2009, more and more insurance companies are beginning to study cell phone communications during claim processes. And if they realize that the driver was texting at or around the time of the incident, the driver will face increased insurance rates or be dropped entirely from the plan. Now that I've highlighted the negative consequences that occur as a result of texting while driving, I will discuss the causes that allow this horrific habit to continue in our country. The first cause is that there's simply no uniform policy to regulate this dangerous habit. As stated by the Governor's Highway Association in October 2009, 18 states have personally taken the initiative to ban texting while driving, leaving 32 entirely unregulated. The second reason is the invincible attitude held by Americans. They disregard the danger of distracted driving. Do you text and drive because you think you can get away with it? If you answered yes to that question, then you have something in common with 1 in 5 Americans who, in a survey released by the American Automobile Association in October 2009, admitted to texting while driving despite known risks. And according to Arthur Goodman, Senior Research Associate at University of North Carolina Highway Research Department on National Public Radio on September 30th, 2009, people know it's dangerous, but there's a disconnect. They do it anyway because they think they can get away with it just this once. Unfortunately, this is the attitude that will kill you, as it did Alyssa Burns, who at 17 drove into a ditch while texting behind the wheel. And this is a statement written by her best friend, Chelsea Lawley, on PJStar.com on June 26, 2009. As teenagers, we think we're invincible. We know it's dangerous, but we do it anyway. Nothing will ever happen to us or our best friend. But it does. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can now recognize that texting while driving is a huge problem in our country. And that is why, today, I propose that Congress pass a law to abolish this dangerous habit once and for all. My law will be enforced by all police departments, and if states do not abide, they will lose all of their highway funds. On the first offense, the texting driver will face a $500 fine. On the second offense, the texting driver will face a $2,000 fine and have their license suspended for 6 months. On the third offense, the texting driver will face a $5,000 fine, have their license suspended for a full year, and go to prison for 6 months. Now, if the texting driver causes serious property damage or bodily harm when texting, this becomes a third-degree felony, and the driver faces a $10,000 fine and 3 years in prison. And if the texting driver kills someone, this becomes vehicular homicide, which is a second-degree felony, and the driver faces a $10,000 fine and 15 years in prison. Under my law, there will also be a National Public Service Program, ERIC, to inform citizens of my new policy. And my law will be funded by a surcharge placed on all instruments served by wireless service providers, and this charge will go directly into a designated fund. Now, although my law will surely save lives, there are certain disadvantages I must address. The first being that certain people view this as an invasion of personal rights. As stated by Steve Farley, Arizona State Representative, on nationalpublicradio.org on September 20th, 2009. Citizens of Arizona view this as a battle between the government and personal rights. However, seeing as Arizona, along with all 49 states, have banned drinking while driving due to its danger, and seeing that there is evidence to show that texting while driving is in fact more dangerous, this argument does not hold very much credibility. The second reason is that people worry that it will not be enforced, as officers will not be able to spot the texting driver. However, according to Lieutenant Vance of Connecticut and Rhode Island News on November 9, 2009, it's been quite easy to spot a texting driver, as they weave in and out just like a drunk driver. Ladies and gentlemen, I have now highlighted the devastating consequences of texting while driving. I have discussed the causes that allow this habit to continue in our country. I have proposed a law that will abolish this problem once and for all, preventing future tragedies. I have also refuted any arguments to my proposal and showed that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Now I have one final message for you that I could text, but I think I'll spell it out instead. Don't text and drive or you will die.